Oh well, this is day 1 of week 3 at the Polytunnel project, which I shall be calling on a separate playlist on the channel. I've decided I will stick with my main channel and just updates monthly long form videos or every 2-week long form videos. But just to let you know what we're doing at the moment, as I say, day 1, week 3, and I have been, behind me is the raspberry. Okay, let me turn it around. Behind me is the raspberry shelter. So I've been starting to thin out and close out or take out the brambles and things. I want to remove these 2 willows so that I can replace the gate there. I've discovered a roll, or the remainance of this roll. Remainance, is that a word? Remainance of the roll, the remnants of the roll. It's quite a lot. I think I can get this properly covered so we can keep the blackbirds and other pesteries out here. I'll fix this up bit by bit too. I have a wee mountain of cardboard ready. I have a number of seedlings going, so that's the whole plan. For week 3 we'll just continue with seedlings, and we should start seeing sproutings in these first ones soon. If we don't, then we have to buy fresh seed. Then that experiment didn't work. And I do thank you for your support for this project. Say, if you want to buy me a coffee to add towards this project, just say so. If you buy me a coffee, it's for this project. So I'll thank you very much from me to you. So I'm just, what am I doing? I'm looking to see if there's any sign of flowers. I don't see any sign of flowers. Or is that sign of flowers there in the very center of that V? Can you see that little? I'll see if I can show you with my thumb. Where my thumb is that signs of flowers? Anyway, you'll know by week 4 if there's flowers on the raspberries. If there are, then we know we're going to have a harvest. So I need to get it covered quite quickly. I've asked the landlord about these timbers, if I can use them. Start of my idea there for what to do with them: lay one flat on either side of the bed. I've got polycop at home to build hoops, and those timbers are heavy, so if I just put hoops on, it shouldn't move the timber around. Otherwise I'll just put a stay across, and then I can use some of this plastic that I discovered here for initial protection. It's already looking somewhat neater there. I sent a few videos to the landlord, and I suggested and asked, and he said fine, take those things down that I mentioned. Let me get up. I decided I'll have a 2-minute siesta there on my comfy chair. So I've tackled this from 4 sides. I've gone around and tried to get in, taken these trees to 2 willows down. You can see it's looking a lot better already, but I need to get into that thickest of clumps. So as I say, I've gone around to cut the bramble away from 4 sides, and that's basically all I've done today. To get myself in here, but every time I go in, the brambles, they play at me and cut me just for fun. You know, you've got to bleed for your art, haven't you? So I need to get, I've got some of them off here. As you can see, brambles all over, because the thickest of brambles on the shade cloth is in there, as you can see. So I've got to get them. Next I'll clean this bit up and come in from this side. I've got to cut them all off before I can maybe get on top of a ladder and get that lot there. And then once I've got all of that tidy, then I can get in. You can see brambles all over here coming down, and then bramble is an amazing thing. Wherever it touches the ground, it decides it'll root. So yes, I have permission to use these timbers. I have permission to use the leaf mold for mulch over here. This is already looking a lot better. This is where I pulled the roll of shade cloth out from. This is a dead tree. There's nothing to it, so I might remove it. But that one is very much alive, and I'm not allowed to. Well, it doesn't make sense to remove any living trees, does it? Apart from weeds. So you can see it's easier to get into the center here now, but look at where all these brambles come down, and then they root and then they spread further. That's how brambles operate. That's day 2 of week 3. I have seen and heard buzzards here in those trees in the distance. I've also, the very first day I was here, heard a woodpecker somewhere there. I haven't heard it since, but the woodpecker was tap 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 tarap tap tap tapping, tap 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 tarap tap tap tapping. Okay, that's it. Enough of an update on an update. Well, this is day 4 of week 3. I've successfully cleared all the brambles off the shadow netting. I've just started putting it back up again. I actually dropped that panel over there to get all the brambles off the top of it. So yes, it's pretty clear here now. All we have is growing raspberries, but we have moisture too. So I'm going to leave this as it is for now, because I don't feel like getting wet again today. I've been wet twice already in the backyard, fixing up all the bits and pieces there, and here comes a bit more rain. So we'll just sit here and vegetate for a moment or 3. I believe day 6 in the evening, which is Saturday, there will be compost arriving. Fresh seeds, because by the way, talking of seedlings, I do believe we are having tomato success. That I don't think is a tomato, I think that's a weed. I think these are tomatoes. So tomatoes have done quite well, seedlings. The others, no sign of anything really. So the seedlings haven't been such a roaring success, but it's old seed, so it was an experiment. Anyway, it's time for me to push off and leave you alone now. Just for a change, there's a bit of a rain happening. It's Sunday, it's the last day of week number 3. Week 3, not week number 3. Week 3 of the project, day 6. I wasn't here yesterday. We went and took the good lady, Fairy Princess, for a surprise birthday party, birthday celebration. The sons and their wives and partners and all these things, and their kids, and it was a great roaring success in a place in Bray, which I really enjoy going to. Anyway, that's not anything to do with the Polytunnel. Now, I have good news. A load, one of those big square tote bags, has arrived with compost. I did go and have a look. I didn't want to whip the camera out there. It's strange, I haven't seen this compost before. It almost looks like short strings of spaghetti type of texture, length. I stuck my hand in it. There is finer material, but I think it'll work pretty well for these beds. I just think we'll need to get something better for the tunnel. Well, maybe that stuff is great, but it's just a bit coarse. Anyway, I went and bought some seedling trays, well, at €5 for 5, i.e. €1 a tray. That's pretty alright. Because the beetroot was showing signs of popping, I put 4 per cell. So let's see how that goes. These are tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes or heirloom tomatoes, these 3. I don't know if anything's happening with them, but that's the other news. All 3 of the tomatoes are showing signs. So that's it for week number 3. Thank you for sharing it with me. Week 4, day 1. I've done a bit here, but there. I don't like stretching above my head, it hurts, especially if I have to twist my neck. Anyway, so I go and tie wrap some of the shade cloth on there. That's getting a lot better. I planted a tray of cosmos seed in the tunnel, obviously, when it was spitting and spotting, so I alternate, do a bit of this, do a bit of that. It seems that there's so many tasks to do, but I came out here just as a quick check up or quick check. Yeah, I want to see this leaf mulch, leaf, whatever you want to mold, whatever you want to call it. This is good stuff. This is like nature would do it. So take out all the bits and pieces, but this is really good stuff. There's a few barrows full here, definitely, and there's finer stuff towards the bottom. It's a season or two old. This, I would say, about 2 seasons old. That's last year's. This is fresh from just the other day. So I'll work that lot into here, and I'll go through this lot and take a few barrows out here and a few barrows out there. Through the path over there, there's a very promising looking lot too. And I think some of this stuff is good enough to go into the tunnel. Anyway, I've got lots to do, and I'm just going to start. I'm going to finish off that. In the process, I want to do something. Let me go and show you there. Then you'll understand better. The something entails using a lot of this, and wait and see, I'll show you now. I tested one up here. Now what will have to happen, I was hoping that'd be long enough. I have to rest them on the rear there, so otherwise they'll fall down, but I need to support them on the scaffolding back there. So they've got notches. I'd be interested to know what timbers they were. I want to bring them this far. Okay, so picture one at the other end, one at that end, one at this end that you can picture here already, and one in the middle. Come across here, supported on the ground, one brace across the top, and from there we hang all our nets that we're going to use throughout the season for, well, firstly peas, then beans through the season. So we have a climbing wall here. Anyway, some of the ideas for day 1, week 4, because the fun is endless. There you go, some of the ideas. Utilize what there is here to be utilized. If one doesn't need to spend a lot on compost and mulch and that kind of thing, then why spend it? I just have one question regarding that, and is will it sustain growth well enough? But the whole idea of mulching is almost more for weed control and also to feed the soil, so it will break down over time. So there is soil below, obviously, and the plants grow through into the soil, and if you water and feed them sufficiently, I'm sure we'll have a good showing. What am I trying to show you? The robin over there. Okay, so let me carry on with this. I just thought I will show you what is happening here. And of course here comes a bit of sun, and when the sun comes, the butterflies start flying. Lovely. I've seen quite a few different butterfly species here already at the farm. Anyway, stop waffling and do something productive. A wet and rather miserly day out there. I was coming to fill a few more trays and fix the hose pipe. That's one of the connectors is boring, so repair that. The tie wraps here. I need to show you this. The compost has been moved down here, which is terrific. So I have stuck my hands through there. What I want to do is I want to take some of this compost, a barrow at a time, one barrow of that, and yeah, as we're walking through here, I'll show you that job is almost complete, and mix it with a barrow of this good stuff, so that we've got live organics in here. That looks like it's been reprocessed, what do you call that, industrial commercial waste, not industrial commercial, shredded timber, that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm not quite sure what exactly it is. I'll ask the landlord. So this is almost at an end. I'm going to cut this off here, over here, because it's full of holes. Use some of this, the less holy bit, to patch the, or to put on the door, on the gate. Here we go. Then if I do that 50-50 mix, this is the first bed I want to start with, because I've explained to you what I want to do here. But first jobs first. I'm going to show you my new needle that I manufactured in the needle manufacturing plant. Can you see there? There's that thing's about 10 inches long, and I've left it long for a purpose. And there's the twine. The twine, this will be for replacing all of these twines, but it'll also be for repairing that, because I'm not going to waste too many more tie wraps on that, am I? Tie wraps can be useful for other things. The rhubarb is taken well. No sign of the dahlias arising yet. I think I showed you the tomato seedlings. 3 sorts of tomatoes. There's 1 or 2 beetroot. That tray is full of beetroot, but nothing happening yet. So the tomato seed I have looks viable, although they look quite weak too. So I'll have to replant these very, very soon to see if they'll kick on. 3 different types here. And the new sewing machine works a treat. Look, all along there. And if I need to go back in places, I can, but I can get it together to make it bird proof. No birds in there anymore. Here I'm going to hang something, and then we'll cover that. And this is big fun, apart from the fact that I'm getting wet. So I think I'm going to take this highly technical device out of the rain before it gets destroyed by rain in the circuitry. That's for sure, for sure. It's windy out here. It's been raining most of the day. It's supposed to clear up a bit now. So now's the time. You're seeing with me the first wheelbarrow of compost that's going to head into the tunnel. This is not fully spent yet, so it might be a bit rich and strong still for the plants, high in nitrogen and burn seedlings and the like. So I've got a bit of a plan here in my skull, and all will become clearer. Once I've fed some into the tunnel, I'm going to start with this bed. I'll clear this lot and get this bed going. As I've said to you, I want to get this to go over so that I've got a place where the peas can come up, and I want to plant sunflower seeds too, and this can be a support then for the sunflowers when they grow tall. You'll see in the summer when the sunflowers grow tall. So there you go, the first wheelbarrow being turned in to the bed. I'm busy with wheelbarrow number 3, and slow going because I'm no longer Superman, or ever was I Superman, but it needs to be done, and I'm quite surprised. Definitely have made a dent so far, and yeah, if maybe that's a tenth of the bag, 30 wheelbarrows then, shall we say, let's guesstimate. But for now, I'm stop waffling, and there I hear as I want to cut, there I hear the buzzard again. Anyway, I'll see if I can capture some of their action for you. Bit of a milestone. This is wheelbarrow number 5 that's going in now. See if we can show you the whole tipping in bit. And I have grossly overestimated the contents of that sack. Only about 12 wheelbarrows in total, I would say. Yep, I have touched the bottom of the sack already. That's it. I rained a bit wet again, but I had to get that 5th wheelbarrow done, and so it goes. I'm going to go and fetch the side cutter in the car and shorten the needle a bit. I think the needle is slightly too long for my liking after yesterday's use. So down from 10 inches, where is the thing? The thing is here, in there, in between. Down from 10 inches, we'll, oh look, there's the eye of the needle. For now, I think that is then the end of my recital for day 3 of week 4. For sure, too much waffle now. Let me bid you adieu to the next bit of waffle. Cheers for now. This is day 4, week 4. Those on 5 wheelbarrow loads there, 4 so far here. And if I empty this, I suppose we'll get the equivalent of 10 total bags. There we go. Out of that bag. So I overestimated by a good 300% because I thought we would get 30 out. Past me saying it's the last of day 4. It's not. I decided I'll start collecting some of this well decomposed leaf mold, and I'll sieve some into the potting mix that I have going there, so that I can get more nutrients, this good stuff that I know is organic. I presume the other stuff's organic too, but let's get some of this in there. So I want to, before I leave today, just do a quick tray of the 3 different sorts of tomatoes, because our seed is viable, so we can start stepping up our tomato seedling production for sure. This is day 5, week 4. I've opened the back curtain because when I walked in here, opened it a few minutes ago, it was 35. It's dropped down now to 24. There's tasks to be done post haste today. These tomato seedlings have to get put into, I have to repot them, so I'll only keep the strong ones. Those are 3 broccoli. Don't know what's going on here. I'll probably discard that. The peas I'll discard. Nothing's happened there. But I have good news. These were all new. Oh, and look here. These are... oh, I think I know what this is. Yes, look at them. These were planted just days ago. These are cosmos seeds. Just days ago. As I say, the seed has arrived, the fresh seed from Seeds Island. So I'm going to be clearing up some of these here. These were all trials. Anyway, some goodies from home. This is one of my brewing buckets. Well, it's actually 2 buckets, but the one got stuck in the other one. So there you see liquid fertilizer starting. Most of the moisture in here is the moisture out of my worm compost, not worm compost, my worm worm compost buckets or totes. Let me hit the pause, and then when I do this, you'll be back with me. Okay, you're back. Now look at this compost. It seems to, this is about 24 hours. So it looks to me like I can spread this a thin layer for mulch down the bottom, and then put other compost down on top of it. But other compost is scarce. Here's the wheelbarrow of leaf mold that I've just overturned. This is from my big compost bin, and you'll find these, that's weed eater bits that I seem to collect in the process, but it can go in the junk bin. So this is good looking stuff. This is more than a year old, well, a year old at least. So I'll let that dry slightly, then I'll sieve it too. I want to really keep a good stock of potting soil here, seedling soil really. And boy oh boy, standing around here where it's sheltered, it's that I've realized about this spot. It's warm. I need to shed a layer, but we could get a bit of dumped upon here soon. Okay, that's enough waffle. Day 5, week 4. It almost suddenly feels like, since the seeds arrived this morning, like there's been a kick up my posterior and things are really going to start happening now. At least 3 buzzards there, can you see them? At least 3, and I think I hear a call of another one. Yes, there's a 4th. There's 4 buzzards above. Day 6, week 4. What am I up to? I brought this along so that I can get rid of all the trimmings and the cleanings in a sustainable fashion. Yeah, you might say, what? When you burn things? Well, the ash, that's the whole aim, is to get the ash recycled onto the beds and into our bucket. So there you have it. I'm gonna put the lid on now and let this die down. You see, there's nice ash in here, and that contains elements that can add to our soup mix. We still need to go and get some more what do we call it, nettles to dump in here, and so we'll boil this juice slowly but surely. It's quite a pleasant afternoon. It's Sunday afternoon. I can't stay too long because it's yours truly's anniversary, and I did remember. I promise you I did.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications.
What could be better than this? Sitting out here, our tomato seedlings have seen their first sunlight. What has struck me is that these 7 cerise cherries are definitely weaker looking than the 9, of which I've done 7 so far, of the 9 money makers. But what I want to show you is we're going from the pot. I want to show you just how deep these leaves, roots, not leaves, have, how long they've become. Okay, let me get it separated there, the 2 of them, because I don't want to plant both of them in the same hole, and I need 2 hands really. There we go. Now, just to prove my point wrong, that's tiny compared to, look how long that is. Look at the root going all the way down to my pinky over there. So yes, and the thing with tomato plants, any stage of their life, you can plant the stems deep, which gives them an advantage because they'll root all along the stem that is covered. So now, and that helps their vigor too. They're growing strong and healthy. Okay, last one going in. We'll just use the old finger while we got it here, and then we drop that one in there, and we cover up the stem. And then once I've done the aromas, I will wet them all down, put them away, and then I suppose it's time to go on home.